Okay, this is our third lesson in our little mini unit for Unit 1 on the distributive property, which again should be review. So the distributive property, there's two ways that you can distribute, and we can do this to multiple things on the inside of our parentheses, but basically it just means you're multiplying everything on the inside by that outside number. So this A is going to go to B and C, so it's going to be A times B plus A times C. Same thing, but with subtraction in the middle. A times B is going to be AB. A times negative C is going to end up being negative AC. So the signs are going to stay the same in the middle unless you're multiplying two negatives. Two negatives is going to end up being a positive. So let's go through some examples. We probably won't do all of these. 7 times x is going to be 7x. 7 times positive 4 is going to be positive 28. Negative 5 times m, negative 5m. Negative 5 times negative 2 is going to be positive 10. Negative times a negative. Negative 4 times negative w. Negative, negative, cancel out, and going to be a positive 4w. Negative 4 and negative 10 is going to be a positive. Negative 4 times 10, or 4 times 10 is 40. I'm going to leave 10 for you guys to do. We'll do 13. So 6a times b is going to be just 6ab or 6ba. Doesn't matter. Usually the number comes first. If you really wrote it as a6b, that's fine, but you usually would put that coefficient in front of the variables. 6a times 2c, so 6 times 2 is 12. A times c is going to be a times c, or c times a. Again, since we're multiplying, doesn't matter the order. Wouldn't matter if I also had this as 12ac plus 6ab. Since we're adding them together, remember those commutative properties mean we can add things in any order, we can multiply things in any order. So try number 10, see if you can get number 10 on your own, pause the video, and come back as this pop-up pops up. Okay, so hopefully you got 3m plus 3n, and I just want to quickly talk about all of these. So just remember, with our last video we did combining like terms, and we cannot simplify these anymore. So this one has an x, this one doesn't, so we're done with that. Same thing with like this guy, 3m and 3n. Those are not like terms. One is an m, one is an n. It's just like if you had, you're counting your euros and your dollars. You don't say I have 23 euro dollars. You say I have $23 or $20 and 3 euros together. You have to convert them to something else, like either to both euros or both dollars, in order to add them together. So same kind of thing with like terms. I can't add these guys together because they're not the same, just like euros and dollars are not the same. Okay, let's do some harder ones. So we're going to skip down to 12. Okay, so D times C is going to be DC. D times negative 4 is going to be negative 4D. Let's do 18, because fractions are always really awesome for people. And I'm going to do that one up on the side just so I have more room. So negative 1/8 and 4/5 x minus 24. So when I'm multiplying fractions, I'm going to write this guy as 24 over 1 because I'm going to multiply the top with the top, so multiply straight across with fractions. So negative 1 times 4 is going to be negative 4/5. 8 times 5 is going to be 40. Bring that x along. And this one is going to be negative 1 times negative 24 is going to be positive 24 over 8 times 1 is going to be 8. Now let's simplify the fractions. So a number that goes into 4 and 40 is going to be 1 or 4. So 4 goes into negative 4, negative 1 is left over. 4 goes into 40, 10. And then 24, 8 goes into 24 perfectly as 3. There are lots of ways that you can multiply fractions, so maybe some of you saw that like I could simplify this and 4 goes into 8 2 times and then multiply across. That's another way. I just like to keep it the same as multiply straight across, simplify the fraction. Unless you can see those numbers visually and like do that in your head, that is totally fine too, but I just like to keep it the same the whole way through. Okay, I want you to try 15 on your own and then come back. So pause the video, try 15, and come back. Okay, so hopefully you had something like this. And again, we're going to talk about the other ways that you could have written this. 2xy minus 5xz plus I had 1x or just x, which is a lot easier to write. You could have also had 2yx minus 5zx plus x. You could have had minus 5zx plus 2yx plus x. Any of those orders are fine as long as the signs are the same. So as long as you have a positive 2, negative 5, and a positive 1, didn't matter the order. Just, I don't know why you would write it like that since it was originally in this order, but you could. Another thing too, even though these guys have two variables and an x, and one of them's an x, since this guy's a y and this guy's a z, we can't add them together. Same with this. This guy's just an x. These guys have extra variables along with them, so we cannot add these together. So this would be our final answer right here. Or flipped around if you did it that way too. Okay, we're going to combine the two lessons, so 1.2, or combining like terms, and distributing. To simplify an expression means to ensure that there are no parentheses and no like terms. So whenever we're solving an equation, we want to simplify first before we start getting into the rest of the solving. So to simplify means really we want to distribute, combine like terms. Distribute, combine like terms. So distribute when we see parentheses. 8 times 2x is going to be 16x. 8 times negative 3 is going to be negative 24. We didn't do anything with this negative 6x, so we're only distributing the 8 to the stuff that's inside the parentheses. So the negative 6x is going to come down. Now we need to look at the thing and see if our expression and see if we can add anything together to simplify even more. So we simplified the parentheses. Now we're looking at combining like terms. So 16x, negative 6x can go together. So if I have 16 things and I take away 6, got 10. And the negative 24 doesn't have any like terms, so he's just going to come down as a part of our answer. Okay, let's do 22. Well, we'll do 21 first, and then I'm going to have you guys do 20 on your own. If you feel like you can just move on and skip ahead to 20, cool. That's fine with me. If you feel like you are good with distributing, you're like, yep, I totally remember this from last year, I don't need to see any more examples. Move it so that you can see what the answer is to 20 once you get done with 20. If you've got 20, you can do all of these. So 21 is just a little bit weird, and the only reason why it's a little bit weird is because there's no number in front of these parentheses. There's a negative sign, which really means that this whole thing is being subtracted, or there's like an imaginary negative 1 in front of there. So remember, we can put a 1 in front of anything that we want to and multiply it by 1. Or if there's a negative, I can really multiply it by negative 1. Okay, so I'm going to distribute first. I'm going to bring these guys down because we're not doing anything with them quite yet. So the 10 and the negative y. Negative 1 times y is going to be negative 1y. Negative 1 times negative 6 is going to be positive 6. This guy right here that we brought down, the negative y, is really a negative 1y. So we can combine negative 1y and negative 1y. 10 and 6. Positive 10, positive 6 is going to be 16. Negative 1 and negative 1 is going to be negative 2y. Okay, so I want you to try 20 on your own. See if you can get 20 on your own. And that'll be the last one for this video on distributing and combining like terms. I will be around to help you guys if you need it. If you also need to view other videos, distribute, combine like terms, search those on YouTube, on Khan Academy. You should be able to find a whole bunch of videos that are very similar to the ones that I'm doing, other than maybe they say something a little bit different that might click with you. So pause the video, see if you can get 20 on your own before I write it down. Okay, so distribute first, get rid of those parentheses. You get 18k minus 36, negative 14k and positive 24. Can combine 18k and negative 14k, get 4k. Can combine negative 36 and positive 24 and get negative 12. So I'm going to guess that maybe some people messed up on the negative 12 just because we've got more negatives and a positive. I will never say that you cannot use a calculator. So if you need to use a calculator on this kind of stuff, great. Go buy a $12 calculator. It'll help you for the next 2 years in math at least. So please, please, please invest at least $12 in your education for a little calculator that has parentheses on it. That's my little rant. Hopefully you are good on distributing and combining like terms. If you need help, please let me know.